Hi, everyone. This is Tina Heisman, Certified Master Life Coach. Welcome to my weekly live marriage coaching call. Today, we're going to talk about why you should communicate your faith in your husband and how to do it. But before we get started, I want to let you know that I have a free private Happy Wives community on Facebook where you can come to get inspiration for your marriage. And it is a happy place. It's not one of those griping negative places. I've seen a few of those on Facebook, and it's just so overwhelming. So this is a happy place. And if you're looking for some positive inspiration for your marriage, this is the place to go. You can find it. It's called The Happy Wives Community, and that's all one word. You'll find it on Facebook. If you can't remember exactly that, just head to my website, tinaheisman.com, and there's a banner at the bottom of the front page. It'll take you right there to the Happy Wives Community. Also, I want to let you know that I've created a free download called the Marriage Makeover Guide. It's a guide to help you make over your marriage step by step into a happier, more joyful, and peaceful place. So if you download, if you head to my website, you'll see the link right there to click to download it. Okay, without further ado, let's get going. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I could talk about this topic forever. Of course, we won't do that today, but I want to talk to you today about why you should communicate your faith in your husband and also how to do it. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned that caused the failure in my marriage in the beginning was it really had to do a lot with communication. And where I thought that I was communicating with some of my words, I love you, that's not the message that was being portrayed to my husband, with other words that came out of my mouth and with other words that didn't come out of my mouth that should have, and also with actions that I was taking. Some of those things that I was doing inadvertently did not look like love to my husband. So I thought that I was communicating love, but that's not what he was hearing. And it was such a revelation to learn this, because there would be so many times where I would get a negative response from him in a situation where I thought I was being loving. And I learned what was going on. It has to do with the topic of the male need for respect. Men and women speak different languages. We know this, right? But this is really huge, and this is something that can transform your marriage if you can grab a hold of it. Men speak the language of respect, and women speak the language of love. Okay, can you see that's a little bit different? It's a little bit different. So where you would feel like I want to be loved for who I am on the inside, your husband wants to be respected for who he is on the outside. And you want to know something interesting about this? There's biblical proof of this. I didn't know until a few years ago. It's Ephesians 5:33. Each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. So you see, the Bible is not calling for us necessarily to love our husband. Of course, we're to love our husband. But this verse specifically says respect our husband, because this is how God wired them. This is how God made them. This is what they need. And that's exactly my next point, is that the male need for respect is hardwired. It's not a flaw, a character flaw. This is how they're made. It's so strong, this need, that according to author Shanti Feldhahn, 3/4 of men would rather feel unloved than disrespected. So 75% of men would rather feel unloved than disrespected. That's a huge statement, friends. So if we want to love our husbands in a way that communicates love to them, we need to communicate our respect most of all, right? So think about what we said earlier, how you want to feel love, your husband wants to feel respect. Can you just sit with that for a moment in your heart, thinking of the love that you want to feel? I don't know about you, but like that can make my heart swell, like the love swelling in my heart, the love that I desire for my husband. That's how much he wants your respect. Isn't that amazing? So this changes things a little bit. So instead of always hearing, I love you, your husband also wants to hear, I respect you. Now, I don't know about you, but those words just don't flow freely off my tongue. I could say I love you all day long. That is my love language. But learning how to communicate my respect for him is something that I've had to work on. And so the thing is, I know that even though we might not be readily aware of this need for respect in our men, we absolutely don't mean to be disrespecting them, but we are inadvertently. We are inadvertently. There's many ways that we are, but today we're going to stay with talking about one little aspect of it, and that is communicating our faith in our husband. So it's a way that we can be very respectful of our husbands, very loving of our husbands, and very positive, and that's communicating our faith in him. Communicating our faith in our husband is communicating that we respect his knowledge, his opinions, and his decisions. And you know what, girls? Shaunti Feldhahn's research showed that men feel respected everywhere but at home. It seems like we're just constantly telling them what to do and second-guessing what they do and trying to help them do things. And what we don't realize is that men need to figure things out for themselves. It makes them feel like they've conquered something. It makes them affirmed as men. Men are problem solvers, right? You know how we're always trying to tell our men, don't try to fix my problems, just listen. They are natural-born problem solvers. And think about this. Your husband goes to work, and he is a hero at work, and he's solving problems all day, and then he comes home, and we inadvertently treat them like one of our children, like they're not capable, like they don't know what they're doing. And I know we don't set out to do that. It's just that we're home all day with the children, and we're managing the whole household and running things, and we just keep on going when they come home, and it's almost like we're just bulldozing right over them. And sometimes we're outright critical of them. This hurts them. I know that we don't mean to be this way, but it hurts them deeply. It communicates to them that we don't respect them and that we don't have faith in them, that they're capable of doing the job of being the husband and father in our home. So instead of this, our husbands need to hear our praise. Your husband longs to hear your words of approval, and you can transform him by verbalizing kindness to him, truly. So there's a few specific ways that I wanted to talk with you about that today. The first is to know that your husband truly wants to please you. He really does. So maybe go easy on him when his efforts fall short or when he messes up completely. Give him some grace. Smile anyway. You know what, ladies? That smile of yours is so powerful. Are you giving it away to him freely, or are you holding it back with your disapproval? I don't even think we realize we're doing it. But that smile, that communicates a lot to him. He needs that. That communicates to him that even if he's messed up a little bit or a lot, you still believe in him. You still trust him. You still love him. And it will encourage him to keep trying to please you. So an example of this would be, say, if your husband cleaned up the kitchen after dinner. So maybe he cleared the table and put the dishes in the dishwasher and washed like the bigger pots by hand. But maybe he didn't wipe down the table or the counters. What happens then, right? We have a choice. We can be grateful for what he did do, or we can be bitter that he didn't do it right. I am sure some of you have been there, maybe not in this situation, but in something similar, and that just cuts right to the heart of him when we indicate that they didn't do it right. What would be better is to just be grateful for the part that they did do, and it takes some doing. I can tell you, it does take some doing. But here's a clue if your husband is hurting in this area. If you've ever heard him say to you, I can never please you, that's a sign right there that your husband needs to hear your faith in him. And you can turn that around by working more on that smile of yours and using your words. to encourage him. So just keep in mind that your husband, he really wants to make you happy. And unfortunately for all of us moms, sometimes it's just all too easy to focus on things that are going wrong instead of the things that are going right. So just if your husband is trying, give him some grace, and you're going to see he's going to be a lot happier man with this, and it will make him want to continue to try to please you. So the second point is to know that your affirming words touch your husband in a truly special way. You know what he needs from you? He needs you to be his biggest cheerleader. Truly. I've actually said these words to my husband. I'm your biggest cheerleader. But here's the thing. So someone like me, I could use myself as an example. So if I'm saying that, I'm your biggest cheerleader, but I'm showing disapproval when he doesn't clean the kitchen exactly the way that I like it cleaned up, those are mixed messages. And unfortunately, that negative message is going to go a longer way if there's more of them than the positive messages. So we need to work on more of our positive messages. We need to know, this is something that Shaunti Feldhahn said, and I love it. The way to a man's heart is not through his stomach, it's through his ears. He needs to hear you thank him often, to affirm his efforts, to praise him for the things that he does for your family, including going to work for you. And I always say this one, something as basic as taking out the trash. Absolutely. We need to be thanking them even for things that we expect them to do. It will go a very long way. You will see a much happier husband. So here's the final point. This is the truth. Your husband doesn't know how much you appreciate him. I'm sure you have thoughts of appreciation in your mind, mixed in with the frustration ones, of course. But he doesn't know what's in your mind, right? We've talked about this whole mind reading thing in the past. He doesn't know how much you appreciate him. And you know what? One of his deepest worries inside him is wondering if he's good enough for you and if you appreciate him. Remember, men need to be respected for what they do on the outside. And so think about if your husband's going to work during the day and getting affirmation there and good positive feedback on his performance at work, but he's coming home and he's only getting negativity from you, where do you think he's going to want to be? He's going to want to be at work, right? Not at home. We don't want to be places where we're made to feel bad about each other. And I know you don't mean to do that because I've been there, and I don't mean to do it either. And I still screw this up sometimes. Well, a lot of times probably. Not perfect. But it's important for us to know that our husbands need to be showered with thanks and admiration. And when we do this, the point of this is one, of loving our husband well, right? So, of course, that's the main bottom line. But also, then that love is returned to you in the way you need it. But if you're having a disconnect in your marriage right now, if things aren't going well between you and your husband, then if one of you will start making some positive efforts and changes, it will spill over to the other one. It might take a while, but it catches on, it spills over to the other one, and it just magically transforms your marriage. It's something that is so powerful, and it's really so simple, right? It goes back to the core of who we are as people. We want to be good people. I know that we all do. So I know that this is easier said than done if you're in a difficult season of your marriage, but trust me, it works. And if you need help working on it, I would love to help you. Just reach out to me. So I just want to remind you, this is the end of kind of the formal part of the call, and I'll unmute it in just a minute. But I want to remind you that I have created a free mini marriage makeover to help you fix any challenges that you might have in your marriage. Just head on over to my website, tinaheisman.com, to download your copy for free. And consider joining us on the Happy Wives community on Facebook. It really is a happy place, no grumbling. It's the Happy Wives community. All right, girls, so that's it for the recorded call for today. Thank you so much for joining me.